Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the House of Paul and I am your host, Paul. Here to talk to you about some crazy prison stories, some jail stories from the past. Today is December 31st. December 31st, 2023. And what a year it has been. And what a year it's going to be, right? Okay, crazy story from the past. This was working at Chuckawalla Valley State Prison. I am walking the tier. The second story tier. And I hear this buzzing noise. Zzz, zzz. Now, I just started there maybe a few weeks prior. I hear this buzzing noise. And then I see these two guys get up from their bunks. When they get up so quickly, like, what are you guys doing? It looked like one guy was on top of the other. I don't know what the hell was going on. Well, I knew they were not fighting. I just knew their eyes were bugging out. And one guy had no shirt on. Another guy had some paper wrapped around his arms. Well, lo and behold, they were doing tattooing. Now, this is back in 1998, well over 25 years ago. And back then, that used to be a serious rule violation in the prison. The reason why is because you're dealing with needles. And it was not really a needle to make the tattoo gun. It was, they would use the guitar string that you can uncoil, and it looks like a really fine needle. And then they kind of sharpen it up. They make the ink from chess pieces and some domino pieces they would melt, and the ash would make, and then they'd melt that ash, that would make the ink. Sometimes they get ink snuck in, right? So anyways, the guy turned around and I saw the pattern on his back. Actually, the pattern looked really similar to this bright purple. I ended up confiscating the tattoo gun, the ink, and the pattern. Back then, like I said, it was a serious rule violation because if we're patting down the inmates, which we'd always pat them down coming in and out of the chow halls, we don't want to get blood on ourselves, right? You know, that's some serious stuff. So that was one of the jail stories back in the day. You would hear that zzz in the distance. Another thing you got to be aware of in using your senses at the prison is your sense of smell. Because when they make Pruno, and that was like the jailhouse alcohol, you could smell it, and it smells really bad, and actually looks worse too. Looks like throw up. I remember another story. I was walking the tier and they had me in charge of collecting the buckets. Okay, the inmates would get the buckets and they use the buckets for various stuff. They would use the buckets to wash their clothes, hide things. So what we would do is we would confiscate all these buckets. And inside the bucket, I was getting some, and it looked like the particular inmate, he had two buckets. I said, hey, I gotta get these buckets. He's like, oh, come on, I'm almost done washing this. I'm like, nope, it's done washing now, I need this bucket. So when I kicked it to kind of move it over, it was full. I'm like, what is this? Take off the lid. And he had a lid. And when I looked inside there, it looked like throw up. It looked like, seriously, it looked like someone took a dump and just threw it in there. And it smelled really weird, super strong. I never had this smell before. It smelled like a old ass wine. I said, what is this? And the inmate just stared at me. He didn't reply. He just looked at me. And it turned out he was one of the lifers in the prison. One of the lifers. So I said, follow me downstairs. And we're going to talk to the regular. And the regular was the regular correctional officer. I was just there for the day. So he brought it downstairs. Everybody was watching because they're anticipating, what am I going to do? Am I going to write them up? I'm going to let them slide. Now, as correction officers, you have flexibility. You don't have to write up anyone. There's no rule book saying this person must receive a write-up. We can just have them empty it. So that's what the regular correction officer had me do. He's like, well, whatever you decide to do, if you write this guy up a 128, that's like the low-level write-up, it's going to stay in his file. Now, this guy is a lifer inmate. He's getting ready to go to the board to see if he gets released after 20 plus years. And this guy was old anyways. He must have been like, I don't know, 70 plus. You know, walking with a limp, glasses. Couldn't really do much inside there. But he was making that pruno. So I said, well, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna take this bucket and you're gonna empty it. They had like a shower right in front of the officer station, but it had another little section that you could dump like liquids down there. So I said, you're gonna dump this. It's like, Silva, you know how much money this is? I said, well, you either want that and whatever you're gonna do with it comes with a write-up, or you wanna just empty it. Sure as shit, he emptied it. So there's a lot of different things as a correction officer. You got to keep your senses open. Now, as a parole agent, one of the main things that could hurt you is the hands. Because I don't give a shit what you say to me, but whatever is in your hands could hurt or kill me. So every time I talk to the parolees, I make sure their hands are, you don't have nothing in their hands. Keep your hands out of your pockets. Now, we didn't pat down the parolees each time they came in the office. You could, and sometimes, depending on the guy, oh, I did. But oftentimes they'd come in. Now, they could have walked right in with a gun, knife, shank, screwdriver, who knows, right? And oftentimes we'd search the cars. We'd find some types of weapons. So if you have desire for correction officer, parole agent, even police officer, is the hands that could hurt you. So I could go on for hours and hours on things to look out for and to keep your longevity as a peace officer, right? A lot of different things. Of course, you want to stay healthy, fit. And the inmates, parolees, they know who's fit, who takes the job seriously. They can tell because how you wear your clothes, your uniform. If you're walking upright and you're squared away, hey, this officer takes the job seriously. Let's wait for the next guy, because there's plenty other next guys and gals that do not. And here's one more story. Put the car in park here. I remember walking into Chuckawalla Valley State Prison. This is maybe 6 months after I got hired. It was, yeah, 1999. And walking through like the port where the ped gate, where officers come in and officers leave, right? I remember walking and I smelled like this perfume went right by me. I'm like, wow, who has perfume at the prison? Now I get it. I wear deodorant, I put cologne on, but I don't really remember putting cologne on before going to the prison, especially in the desert, because it's just hot. And who are you there really to impress? Now, you want to not stink, but you don't want to attract, right? Well, this particular female, I started noticing, you walk by her, she smelled like perfume, like a Macy's perfume counter. And then all of a sudden, her face, she starts wearing a lot of makeup. I'm like, why are you wearing red lipstick? And this is her leaving. I'm like, well, maybe she's going somewhere. Well, it turned out another part at the prison, at Chuckawalla Valley State Prison, you'd pay for these little ducats so you can get your boots shined. The inmate had some inmates at the front, they would shine your boots. And even had a little barber, they would kind of edge you up, right? Clean up your hair. Well, one time I was getting my boots polished, this female was getting her hair trimmed, which is kind of odd because I've never seen a female correction officer getting her hair trimmed by the inmate. Plenty of haircuts, because that's what they did, but never a female. And one of the AW's assistant wardens walked by. I never knew this lady. She walked by, she did a double take like, what? Of course you can't say anything. They did. Turned out that parolee giving the haircuts and that correction officer, they were in cahoots. They're over familiar. Because when that parolee paroled and he got out of prison, he was stopped by the local police department there in the city of Blythe. Now, when at the river, close to the river, so when they stop, now I used to be a level 1 reserve with Alhambra Police Department, before CDC. First thing you do, you see 2 people in the car and suspicious activity, you're gonna separate them. That way, their stories to see if they match up. Well, when the officer separates them, that inmate or parolee says, hey, I just paroled. I just got out maybe a day or 2 ago. This is my name and I'm not doing anything wrong. I just paroled. And then when they start talking to the female, she flashes her badge. Hey, I'm a correctional officer. And right there and then they're like, correction officer here, parolee there. Doesn't add up. And those officers had a lot of experience dealing with correction officers as well as parolees, because the prison's right there. Long story short, she ended up quitting before getting fired. And what threw more salt is that her husband was a correctional officer at the prison as well. I felt for him, but you know, I never knew what happened to him at the end. But anyways, you guys have a great, safe New Year's Eve. And we're going to start off the new year strong and exciting. 2024 is going to be a great year for all involved. Alrighty, guys, thank you for watching. Hit that smash that button. You guys are watching, but hit that button to subscribe. I'm trying to get to the 200 mark here next couple months. And then the sky's the limit. Thank you guys for watching, and we talk to you soon. Bye.